Welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Speaking with authors, entrepreneurs, founders, and coaches to learn their strategies for a more resilient life so we can all build the life we love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden.
All righty. Welcome back. If it's your first time here, I guarantee you this is a conversation you want to stick around because nothing better than learning what you're missing out on your composting, on your spring planting, getting down. We're going to dig into things today. I had to say that. Just so you know, this is not the first person in this field that I've actually interviewed in my career. So it's more common than you think. You just haven't heard. Cathy Nesbitt is a health and wellness advocate. She's the founder of Cathy's Crawly Composters, established in 2002. Cathy's Sprouters and Cathy's Laughter Club. She is a multi-award-winning environmental innovator who uses workshops and inspirational speaking to motivate people to live a more sustainable life. Cathy is a certified laughter yoga teacher, appointed laughter ambassador in 2017 by Dr. Madan Dr. Madan Kataria, and founder of, I love this, the Laughter Yoga. Cathy is an avid cyclist and, of course, gardener. So let's bring Cathy in studio. You had me at Worm. It's like when I got the, I'd love to be on your show. It's like, okay, absolutely. I mean, this is actually more common than a lot of people think. It's the whole worm industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just for fishing. Not just for fishing, people. It's not just bait. Okay, so Cathy, before we dive in, and I know that there's going to be so much to talk about because you're very diverse and exciting. Let's talk about first, who is Cathy?
So I grew up in Toronto, largest city in Canada. And in 93, I moved out of the city and bought a house, and I couldn't wait to start gardening and composting. And then fast forward 2002, our landfill closed, and although Canada's a pretty large country, we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill, and we started to export our garbage to the US. That's where the worms come in. They squirm on in.
So that's interesting. So they were exporting to the US?
1,000 trucks a week, Kim.
That's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Now, that's our tax dollars hard at work.
Yeah. Well, we are making efforts in Canada by recycling and getting rid of single-use plastics and things like that. But I think we still have a long ways to go. And I think what's really interesting, especially with food costs. So we're in a lot of people are going through food scarcity right now because food cost is way, like it's 20-30% higher when you go to the store. And unfortunately, it costs a lot to eat healthy. It's a whole lot easier to make a box of mac and cheese for $1.32 than to go and make a salad or something. So that's where coming in and growing, doing container gardens or doing part of a community garden. So I want to talk about Cathy's Crawlers because this creating your own dirt, creating your own space, creating your own food is an option. Just most people aren't aware of it. And even if you're in a big city, it's still an option. So walk me through first Cathy's Crawlers. How did you start that and how does it benefit people?
So beautiful. Thank you. So I alluded to the garbage being exported, and I was like, I have a solution. Indoor composting with worms. So I really was looking at people that live in condos, townhouses without space to do outdoor composting. And my business is Pre-Green Bin, which is part of Canada's, not everywhere has it, an organic collection program. So my business is pre because when the landfill for the largest city in a country closes, it's a problem, a big problem, a big smelly problem. So this is indoor composting with worms and how it benefits. I actually would like to just make a reference to something that you said. You said it's cheaper to cook a box of mac and cheese at $1.25. I would like to challenge that and say, long term, it isn't. It's way more expensive because of our health.
The health. Absolutely. Absolutely. Human beings, we work within the short term, and that's the problem.
That's how brains work too.
Yeah. Our brains are wired short term, right? So it's rewiring and resetting what is opportunities or it's so yes, I totally agree with you. The long term of cracking that box of KD is not healthy for your body.
No.
But that a lot of people are in that space. So how do they get started? You have to start with good dirt, right? You have to
Absolutely. When we take care of the soil takes care of the plant. We don't need to add chemicals. We don't need to, put all the stuff on the plant, which will help that plant grow because chemical engineers have done a great job. They're doing their great job, which is to make that plant grow. It does nothing for the soil. We need to look at nature. We're so disconnected at this point that we don't even know where our food comes from. So yes, it starts with making our own soil, which when we take the food waste out of garbage, we take the stink out of the garbage. We're managing it on site, so we're saving money not having it trucked around. We're doing it right on site, in our house, in our school, in our business, community centers, wherever we have food waste, we could have a worm bin. And it is the 21st anniversary of Cathy's Crawly Composters. And I started because we were export. I saw a big problem. I had a solution. And I thought, this was going to be easy. I thought I'd be sitting on a beach by now, Kim, really.
Yeah.
I thought everybody would know about this by now. My goal when I started in 2002 was to put worms in every living space, not one in a school like a token worm bin. No, every classroom, everywhere, because we needed it. And I didn't realize that people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. Yeah. So there I was, I didn't have business acumen before. I was a secretary for 20 years. I just saw an opportunity and things came my way and boom, here I am. I guess I have some savvy because I'm still standing.
Exactly.
I'm still in business, right? And so I just thank goodness that I barreled ahead, that I was like, I would have a booth and I didn't hear when people said, ew, worms in the house. I just was like, no, you need this. And I was just like, rah, kind of launching all over them. I didn't know how to do business. I didn't know how to communicate my message because I was just like, no, you need it. And I think I was put here for this reason. I really believe this is why I was put on earth, to be the talking worm, the head worm.
The head worm. Well, and you are the head worm because your message is getting out there because, yes, I'm also in Canada, but I'm on the other side of the country. Just because one person, somebody in Canada, we do not know every Canadian. But I do know somebody who works with you or is a client of yours. And so the world is actually a very small world. How hard is it to grow your fresh veggies if you had a good soil and such? How hard is it to get your own garden started, and how much space does it take to grow a salad?
Oh, great questions. Yeah. So really, if people are listening and they live in a condo or they have a basement apartment, there's things you can grow. You can have a potted plant and you can grow some herbs. At least you can get something to start. And people say, I don't have a green thumb. Good. Start with good soil because then the soil will look after the seed. There's all kinds of videos on how to do anything today. So if people are really interested, any container will do. So let's say a potted plant. You could have your lettuce in there, really fast growing. I mean, you just plant your seeds. Gardeners are very hopeful lot because we plant seeds and then cross our fingers. Hopefully it will grow. Needs a little sun or a little light. You got to keep watering it. And if you talk to your plants, it's not just a myth. We're giving carbon dioxide to the plants and then they convert that into, they transmute that and put it out give us back oxygen. It's kind of this reciprocal relationship that we have. And, my business, the busiest year I had was 2020. When everything shut down, I had parents calling me. Oh, everyone was homeschooling and they said, oh, we need a project for the kids. Good. What do I care as an entrepreneur how the worms get in the house?
Exactly.
Right? And
Exactly.
then the longer we were shut down, the more it became apparent to people that they needed to start growing, that they needed to, because in Canada, we import 60% of our food because of our short growing season. Yeah. And so when our border closes, it's a problem. We are food insecure all the time, but when the border closes, it becomes very apparent.
Yeah, and there was a lot of concern, right? And I know that when you look at other northern climates, there are other countries that are through geothermal, through all sorts of things. They're growing all of their own fruits and vegetables. They're not importing the way we do. Um, and not saying that we, want to disrupt that supply chain, but I mean, the reality is if you don't have to pay, $1.30 for a tomato and you can grow your own tomato, the amount of money you're saving by doing that. What are the other benefits of having these plants? So that worms come in, they create great soil. You then can put that soil into use in your own space if you choose to do so. What are some other great benefits of doing something like this in your home or for your mental health or for your physical intake? Let's talk about the health benefits of having worms.
That's having worms, not having worms, having worms.
The great equalities! But maybe a tapeworm for 3 months, Cathy. I'll take a tapeworm. It's barbecue season here, so we're eating a lot of potato salad. But yes, let's talk about the mental health and physical health benefits of
So
starting.
many, Kim. So many, Kim. First of all, when we have our hands in the soil, there are antidepressant microbes right in the soil. So when we're touching the soil, we're not on our technology when we're gardening, for one thing, because our thing would get dirty.
Exactly.
Right. So we're totally connected to the earth. It's called earthing. Have you heard of earthing, where you're exposed to the earth's energy? As soon as we started wearing shoes, we became disconnected. Our feet were no longer exposed to the earth's beautiful energy. And that's something that I do. I actually garden barefoot and I go out every morning and earth. I just step on the grass and get the earth's energy. And when it's dewed, when the grass is a little wet, it's like a conductor. Gives me more energy. It's so beautiful. Okay. So that's one of the benefits. Right. One of the benefits is that we're slowing down. We're not on our technology, so we can just be out in nature, first of all. When we grow our own food, we don't waste it. It took a lot of effort to grow that tomato, right? And then you were watching it and we're making sure the raccoons don't get it and the wildlife, it's turning red now. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. You can't wait to have that tomato sandwich. So we waste less, we eat better. It costs less because we're growing it ourselves, and we know what's in it. When we make our own soil, we know what's in it. When we buy a bag of even composted cow manure, we really don't know what's in that bag. Yeah. And by the way, when it's in a bag, like in a worm bin, and we should talk about how to do the worm composting, but
absolutely.
So it's any container. So for the do-it-yourself, or say a Rubbermaid or any kind of tote, you need a carbon nitrogen mix. Same idea as outdoor composting. The carbon inside would be shredded paper, could be drink trays, egg cartons, toilet paper rolls, paper plates, paper bags, any combination of your paper products. Cut it up. Add a little bit of soil. The worms don't have teeth, so there's little microorganisms in the soil that help to break down the food. So they're the decomposers. And the worms have a gizzard like a chicken, so they need the grit from the soil as well. Potting soil in a bag is sterilized, even if it's organic and whatever it says on the label. It's sterilized, meaning no bugs. we're adding it for the bugs. So potting soil is not a suitable thing to put in your worm bin. You can just get soil from outside anywhere you know that there's been no chemicals applied. And then about 6 to 8 crushed eggshells. The worms require the calcium for reproduction, and the eggshells the calcium balances the pH in the bedding. And then water. You want it to be the consistency of a wrung out sponge. Better too wet than too dry. That's the main starting thing. And then when you add your worms in, they are special worms. There are 4 types, thousands of types of earthworms. 4 have been identified as optimum for vermicomposting. Red wigglers, European night crawlers, African night crawlers, and perionyx. There's probably others that just haven't been identified yet.
And okay, so so let's talk. It sounds like those are not going to be all indigenous to North America. How do people get these worms? That's what you do, right? You grow all these worms for people. So walk me through that process. How, if somebody wanted to start this in their house, how do they get them from you? Like I'm just trying to figure out UPS or Amazon. Like I just can't. I mean, I get the flat packs from Amazon with cords and cables. I'm going, oh, I just don't know. Like, how would I get a worm that way?
Yeah, we generally ship by courier. We do ship across Canada, weather permitting. It's a giant country. If you can find local worms, better. That's obviously better. Just be sure to buy from a reputable dealer, because it is a kind of an underground business. Kim, and I must say there's been some large scale projects kind of started and then they don't succeed. And here's why. We're dealing with living creatures and they have a phenomenal reproduction, more than rabbits. However, there are 3 key elements: temperature, moisture, and airflow. Temperature is 16 to 28, so room temperature. If we're comfortable, they are. When we add the nitrogen in, the food scraps, that's the fuel, that's the heat. Or if you were doing manure management, if anyone lives on a farm, I know you're in Alberta, it's farm country, right? Lots of cattle, lots of horses. Those manure piles are so hot. So the nitrogen is the heat. So in a large scale system, like people ask me all the time, can this be scaled up? Yes. My goal is worms in every house. Like a ridiculous business model, right? Trying to get everyone to buy worms. How ridiculous. But I didn't know. That's why I really believe I was divinely guided. So on a large scale, when we're adding in all of that nitrogen, it needs to be managed. So it's much more difficult. And your worm, if it gets too hot, your worms die. If there's too many chemicals, the worms die, right? So that's why, for me, a small scale is the way to go. And that's really what I'm advocating for.
Okay. So, and do you provide like the containers? Let's talk about a bit what you provide and how you support.
Yeah, I have lifetime support of the worms. If the worms die, I guess we're done. I can't bring them back.
If they need therapy, you're good,
If I got to talk down your spouse off the roof, like.
Yep. Tell your 4-year-old to get their hand out of the dirt. Yep.
Yeah. So I did have a beautiful system made in Ontario. It was called the Living Composter. And it's still available. A cheaper version is available online. I didn't want to compete with Amazon. So I now no longer sell that beautiful system. But I do have lifetime support. So I do supply the worms. I do a lot of education, Kim. I feel like 21 years ago, I needed to create the market, just to raise awareness. And there still are people that don't know about it. So I really appreciate the opportunity to continue educating. I was a little bit sad when I was like, wow, it's my 21st anniversary. I really thought, not that I would be retired or that I wouldn't be doing this. I just really thought there would be a lot more people. I think that we need a worm business in every town so that we don't have to be trucking them all over the place. People just go, oh, where's the worm business? I want to go and get some compost. Because not everybody wants to do it. That's what I understand now. I have a psych degree and I'm meeting a lot of people who were traumatized as children in the schoolyard after a rainy day or by a sibling, somebody, or maybe a fishing incident, where the green goo coming out gross. and something happened. If you were traumatized as a child, you're not looking to that as a solution as an adult. So how did I get into laughter? So worms, sprouts, and laughter, those are my three things. Before 2020, I thought I was a juggler, like the three random things, but they're all things that I do. And 2020 hit. I had all this time to think. Oh, and think. Oh, more time to think. And I realized my three offerings, worms, sprouts, and laughter, are beautiful, sustainable things that we can all do for a beautiful life. 2012, one more person said, "Ew, worms in the house." And I heard it, I felt it, and I questioned everything. Why do I care so much? Why doesn't anybody else? Why am I alone here? Why doesn't anyone want worms? And I really believe that I was divinely guided, and I was fine for 10 years. I was struggling. Like how did I get cut? But I just barreled ahead. I wasn't listening that people didn't want what I had. 2012, I heard it. And I think the universe was like, we better throw her a lifeline. She's going to bail. And I was introduced to laughter yoga the very next day. When I was like, I should just get a job. It would be much easier. Right. And then I was at a business meeting, and the speaker did a 5-minute intro into laughter yoga. It's not about jokes or comedy. It's laughter for the health of it. Just laughing. Have you ever heard laughter's the best medicine?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Right. My next question is, have you had your daily dose? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. The love drugs, Kim.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Versus cortisol. Sorry.
I totally get it. I love to laugh. It's my thing. But I love to engage. And I think there's a lot of people who are sitting in silos right now. And so if you are working on building a business and you are by yourself, you're probably not getting what you need. Cathy, where can people, how can do you do anything online, or how does that work? Because I think a lot of people are really lonely, and loneliness brings down all those things, and it doesn't create the opportunity to laugh and engage. So walk us through a little bit. I'd love to know more about your laughter yoga and how people can engage you on that.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Oh, I started my online club before 2020. I did. So when I was introduced to laughter yoga 2012, I loved it. I became trained as a leader. I got trained as a teacher. So now I train leaders. And then I was appointed laughter ambassador in 2012. I love to laugh. It saved my life. Not that I was on the edge. It just saved my worm business and has enhanced my life so much. I'm a natural laugher. And I knew that, but laughter yoga has given me permission to laugh full on, laugh longer, louder, harder, because it's a cardiovascular workout. When we're laughing, we're completely present. We're not thinking about that stupid thing we said or that meeting we have coming up. We're just right here, right? We're not even thinking. Right? When we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. Our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body as an operating principle. And our amygdala has not evolved since prehistoric times. It kept us safe at that time. That was great. If something was going to happen, we needed to know. Now, when we go into stress, like always, like if we miss the bus, we go into stress. If we lose our keys, we go into stress, and our body acts as if we're in imminent danger. We are not, but we're secreting all those stress chemicals. We're not breathing. Our heart's beating. We're in fight, flight, or freeze. And we need to stop it. We need to stop it right now, because stress is related to 90% of today's ailments. Manage your stress, manage your life. People are struggling today. They're in silos. They're alone. Loneliness is the number one factor leading to sadness, depression, anxiety, frustration, all of these very low. When we're alone, we only have that voice in our head, ruminating over and over, like, what a loser you are. Why are you on your own? What are you doing? That voice is never your friend. You would never have a friend. You would never pick somebody on purpose like that voice in your head. Never. So laughter. So in 2020, when I was introduced to laughter, I said, universe, I don't want to have a free laughter club because I do enough for free already. I want paid gigs. You get what you ask for. And so paid gigs I got. I was going to long-term care. I was going into corporations. I was going here and there working with, but I was having a blast. Then 2020, shut down, everything closed down. Wow. June 2020, I started my online laughter club. I needed to laugh. Before 2020, I was doing between 100 and 200 in-person events. Wow. I was a hamster. Look at me. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to do that again, by the way. But I realized I needed to laugh. I needed people. So I said, okay, I'm ready to start my free club. And so I have a free Tuesday club, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes, super fun self-care on Zoom. I get people from around the world. All are welcome. As a laughter yoga teacher, I incorporate tapping, brain gym, qigong, other healing modalities. Since 2020, again, right, all this time to think, I've taken a deep dive into why laughter is the best medicine. And it totally is, Kim. It totally is. It's within us. And when we're laughing, we're in charge of our own pharma. I wonder if I'm going to wear out my dispenser. Right? Pew, pew,
Oh,
pew. Oh, pew, pew, pew. Oh, there's more. It's self-perpetuating, right? Energy gets energy. I do a lot of work with special needs, and it's so wonderful because they're quite often, they're like, I'm tired. I say, good, let's laugh. Let's
Yeah.
laugh then. And all we need to do, like, they're like, oh, I don't want to. So then we just throw in a song and whoop, look that we're up and dancing. We're having a dance party. It doesn't matter. Laughter incorporates, laughing, of course, laughing. A laughter club incorporates laughing, deep diaphragmatic breathing, gentle movement. It's not doing yoga and laughing. It's just laughing. The yoga part is the deep diaphragmatic breathing and the practice of it. You would never, if you were on medication, you would never take one dose and be like, all right, I'm done.
yeah.
It's a practice.
I find it fascinating because I'm one of those people that I think I'm wired a little bit differently in the sense that yes, our brains. So I love how you bring it up that we are dealing with prehistoric brains. We're dealing with yes, the information, the knowledge, the technology, all of that's growing. However, our brains are still looking automatically for danger. Everything is danger, trauma, fear. It's designed, the brain is designed to protect the body.
Mm.
And that is essentially how not to get eaten by something, how not to fall down the ground and in a cavern or something. Like that's what the brain was designed for. So that's what we're working with. Um, I do believe that there are some people who just naturally are happier most of the time. Like there's just the more optimistic side of things. And laughter is, I mean, you take a look at Betty White. That is somebody who is the epitome of of, you know, looking at the bright side. And she lived until 101. There's all the studies out that men who are happily married outlive by like an average of like 5 years of men who are not married or unhappily
Right.
married. Don't know.
Right.
But it said men who are married versus men who are not married. So I'm assuming that was unhappy versus happy. So you do the free classes. Are you now going back in? Because I can see where these guided tours on how to re-engage that side. I think some people may feel a little silly. Like we like I think we've been so pushed to be serious and move forward and so forth and so on, that laughter is almost like tamped down. Like if you're not serious, you're not smart, you're not, really doing something for yourself. If you're just laughing it off, right? That's another term we have. Oh, you just can't laugh everything off, right? So is there things that you're seeing as you're now kind of getting out and you're talking to people that it's like post COVID and getting them kind of rewired back into that more optimistic, happy space.
Yes, we are what we act. right?
Absolutely.
And everything is awkward the first time we do it. We're starting a new job. We're like, oh, I hope I fit in. I hope I know how to do the job. Every time we do something new, so laughter is no different. And my first experience, okay, I met a woman that had a laughter club 5 minutes walk from my mother-in-law's place. And my mother, she passed 2 years ago. And I came to laughter with my mother-in-law. Oh my gosh. I said to her, hey, Mary, do you want to go to laughter yoga? And she said, what's that? And I said, I don't know. I don't want to go alone. So it became our date night. We would go out for dinner and she would say, we better not have garlic, ha, ha, ha. And I said, oh, as long as we both have it, it's fine.
Absolutely.
Right. And then we go laugh. It was so fun. So the first time we went, we played full on, right? As the laughter leader teacher, you say to your audience, allow yourself permission, right? Because our brain wants to keep us safe. Like it knows what's happening. It wants to keep us safe and conserve energy. It does that by, just like if you go to a family function and one of your family members says something and boom, you're in that mode again. There you are. Here we are. Oh my gosh, it's Thanksgiving again and we're in it again already. We've only had one bevy. Right? Because the mind, that's where the mind goes. We can override the mind. That's the beautiful part. It's like the mind, the body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter. The mind knows, right? It might be like, you look weird. Why are you doing this? Stop laughing. This is awkward. And the body's like, pew, 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 secreting all those love drugs. It's getting oxygenated. And I'll tell you, I said about when we're stressed, we're not breathing. Blood, lymph, oxygen leaves our brain. So if we've ever lost our keys and we're flopping around, like, where are my keys? I got to go. Your brain knows where they are, but it's literally being deprived of oxygen. So next time you're flapping around because you lost something, stop, take a deep breath in, laugh it off, apologize to everyone. And your keys, phone, glasses, whatever will be right there. It's really magic. And we really need to connect with people. So going back in person, online laughter is fine. It's totally fine. It works beautifully because we have gallery view. We're all looking at each other. And it's just the laughter leader that's talking. Everybody else is just playing. They may be muted or not, depending how much noise there is in the background. But we're really just doing, like, it's kind of like Simon Says, almost like there's clapping and you're clapping palm to palm. There's a rhythm, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and it's ho, ho, ha, 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 as the words. And I thought that was so random, like this clapping and chanting. It's like, that's so weird. But do you remember the Pavlov's dog?
Yep.
He would ring the bell and give the treat. And then he could just ring the bell and the dog would salivate, no treat. That's what this does. It primes our brain. Not that we start salivating, but we start secreting the laughter. Maybe. Ooh, laughter time. Yay. I do. I laugh a little bit.
There you go. You're having a good time when you need a bib. That and the lobster shack, right?
That's hilarious. That's really funny. Yeah, so it just really connects us. So it's allowing yourself permission the first time. So I went with my mother-in-law. We played, but when we were walking back to her apartment, it was like, that was really weird. That was awkward. That was strange. But it was like, I feel great. How do you feel? Pew, pew, pew. And then we slept great that night. So we went every month. And this club was in a crowded place, crowded corner of Toronto. The 10 or 20,000 people live at that corner in condos. And she had to close her club. There wasn't enough people. You got to rent space. And I was sad. I said, wow, people just don't know that this super fun thing is here. Like, imagine if you could just laugh and get off your antidepressants. I'm not suggesting, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but it's happened. And when I came to laughter, I was really surprised. This is a global movement. There are, Dr. Kateria's goal is world peace. And there are clubs around the world, about 120 countries, laughing with laughter clubs. North America's a late adopter. Yoga's kind of just arriving. Laughter's still in the ocean.
Yeah.
It is pretty new. Corporations are having me in because now, people are going back into work, back into the workspace. We've been on our own for 3 years. I don't know if you've noticed, people are having trouble making eye contact. communicating eye to eye. Like we're so attached to our technology. Yeah. And by the way, I don't have a cell phone, but I know how it works. And I know when people are on their cell phone, we have the physiology of depression. We're looking down. So we have candy cane neck,
Interesting.
right? Somebody needs, like, we have a selfie stick. So we have that, we don't have a double chin when we're taking a selfie. Someone needs to come up with something. So when we're on our cell phone, we have a straight neck because we're looking for trouble.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The just that whole. I mean, people are getting hit in crosswalks because they're walking on the phone. So look up, folks.
Darwin
Look up.
Awards.
Yep, look up. Resilience. Talk to me about a story of resilience. I think you've actually touched on that, a 22-year career, and just keep pushing it. And, it's not easy. So talk to me about a story of resilience that without that moment, you wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, I would like to go back to 2012 when one more person said, "Ooh, worms in the house." At that moment, I could have said 10 years. I gave this a good try. This was pretty good. 10 years, maybe people don't want what I have. I'm going to move on. Instead, the universe gave me that message and I stepped into that. And then I kept on because I realized that we really need this worm thing. I could just doff my worm mission, but I think if we doff why we were put here, sickness does come. And I think that my role is to be the head talking worm so that people can come up. I know young people today are inundated with the challenges of the world, and it has to be this way. We can't have a basket of solution without problem. So for the creatives out there, there's a lot of work for you. Just step into whatever it is that fires you up, something that you're like, there's a problem that I have a solution for that. I have a better way of doing that. Step into it. We need you. We need you. And I think that we get these ideas, we get a download, and then we do that deep intake of breath where we're like, oh, and we get all fired up. We're like so excited, whatever it is. It might be a hobby. It might be something you want to do, something you want to buy, whatever it is, go do it because you were given that download for a reason, that little spot of inspiration where you get all excited. Then that friend in your head might step in and go, no, remember last time? Whatever happened. Or you talk to someone and they're like, you're never going to quit smoking. Like your smoking friends are like, you're never going to quit smoking because they don't want you to quit smoking. Because if you quit, then they got it like, what? Ooh, that makes them look bad. Right. So people want to keep you in their fold. They don't want you to excel because then it makes them look bad. We don't want to change. So I would say, go excel. The world needs more leaders. We don't need more sheep right now. We don't. There's enough people following, and you'll have followers if you're out there, 21 years selling worms by the pound. It was really hard at certain times, for sure. And I was ready to throw in the towel. Thank goodness I didn't. I'm still here. And I've had the privilege of knowing that I've made an impact. We all are, good or bad, whatever we're doing. Whenever we smile at someone that we don't know, we're making an impact, and we don't know. Because I've been in business so long and I've exhibited for so long and I've done school workshops for 20 years. I was at an event and a young man came up to me and said, you came into my grade 3 class and set us up with worms. And I can't recall if he said because of you or because we had worms in the class. I'm going to say because of me. Because of you, I took environmental studies at university and now I'm an environmental lawyer.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow. Cathy,
Right?
what are you filling your cup with? What book or podcast are you filling your cup with?
I have a couple. One book that I would really love everyone to read, I've read it a few times and I will read it again, is Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's just a great journey into yourself and just answers a lot of questions. And the second one is Peaks and Valleys by Spencer Johnson. He's the author of Who Moved My Cheese? Those two little books, it's the sequel. So it's you can read it in an hour. It's just a teeny little book, there's little pictures, and it's a great little foible. Both of those books, Who Moved My Cheese and Peaks and Valleys. Beautiful.
We have Cathy's socials up here. Cathy is with a C. So Cathy's Composters.com. And then also Cathy'sClub.com, where you can join Cathy for a laughing session. Where else can we find you, Cathy? I believe your socials. I've got your socials. I'm going to put them up here. Again, that is Cathy with a C, folks. When you're looking for Cathy's with a C. So walk me through your socials real quick.
Yeah, it looks like Facebook, at LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and I do have a super fun video series called Fun Fab Friday. This Friday will be 104 episodes. Yep, that means 2 years. Can you imagine? It's my husband and I. We travel around and do these little recordings. And I can say that I never would have done all those, been to all those super cool places if we weren't doing this little series. Because it's like, oh, what can we do now? And then we go to another town or we go to a festival and then we do a little episode. They're super fun little episodes.
Excellent. Oh, you're living the life. That's something Doug and I have talked about. My husband and I have talked about. So I'm going to, we're going to close this out on Cathy's quote. And then I'm going to give everybody a little homework that I think will actually align directly with Cathy. So first of all, Cathy, can you share your quote? What is a quote that you live by or your mantra, anything along those lines?
Without awareness, action is impossible. And I came up with that. It had to do with my worm business because I realized that if you don't know that you can have a worm bin in the house to manage your food scraps and paper, you're not doing it. Bad for business. You're not calling me.
Yeah. So,
and another one, my
yes.
second one is it's no for sure unless you ask.
Absolutely. 100%. You're already sitting at no, so why not ask? You know what? This is, believe it or not, all pieces of this podcast do pull together because it is creating a healthier opportunity for you, be it in the laughter yoga or getting your hands back in the dirt. Just so you know, there are places around the globe. So in Japan, it's called forest bathing. People are paying money to reconnect with the dirt. So here's your homework this week and something you can do. I want everybody, if you do not have dirt in your home, if you do not have a little herb kit or something, I'm pretty sure you have earbuds or have access to your favorite comedian, audio track, or Cathy's laughter club on what morning was that again, Cathy? Was it Tuesday?
Tuesday morning, 9:30.
9:30 Eastern. We're going to do a twofer. I'm going to have you guys plant an herb. Stick your fingers in the dirt. Just go out and get one of those little kits. Plant an herb, stick it in your window in your kitchen, stick it, I don't care, in your office, by your bed, I don't care. Get your hands in a little bit of dirt and listen to some laughter. Get engaged, be present, and you know, put a smile on your face. We all do better with a smile. We all do better when it reaches our eyes and goes down to our stomach and just feels better. Cathy, you are truly an ambassador of humankind, and I really appreciate all that you're bringing because it is all very. I want to say that it's got this great ecosystem. What you're doing does have this great ecosystem to it to make happier, healthier human beings.
Thank you, Kim.
You are a rock star. So, folks, until next time, you know, I only have the coolest, most interesting women on this show. I guarantee you'll learn something. Either A, how to persevere as a business person, B, how to become a better human being, or C, maybe it's just how do you accept yourself a little bit better and say, hey, I'm okay. I just heard Cathy talk and I think a lot like Cathy. Cathy's happy, so I can be happy too. You know what? We're all in this together. We're all in this together. So until next time, all I can say is stick your fingers in some dirt, listen to what makes you laugh, and don't be embarrassed when you laugh because Who cares what anybody else is thinking? Have fun and be present. Until next time.
Thank you for joining us here today at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I'd love to invite you to our resilient community at resilientgift.com. That's resilientgift.com, and we'll send you our magazine and tickets for upcoming events and all sorts of cool things we do here. So be sure to keep watching, and you know what? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know that sharing is caring.